Hello, this is Rebecca here, and today my video is about how I plan on documenting a day in a life, which is tomorrow. If you're not familiar with the day in a life, it's with Allie Edwards, and I'm going to leave her information below. But basically she picks out days throughout the year, and actually once a year she picks out a week, and it's basically you document that day or that week. And so many years ago, I say many, it may not be that many, but she put together this little list, and I don't know if she still uses it or not, but I know that it's my way of being able to track things during the time frame of documenting. And basically it's a free printable, and again, if you Google Allie Edwards Week in a Life, it'll pull up one of her blog posts. And I will try to find that as well and link that below, and then you could just print these out. So since tomorrow is, I just want to make sure because I don't know why I'm so off on this November, but it's Thursday, November 2nd. And so I printed off the Thursday one. So I kind of, I did two different sizes. One I did was like, I think 75%, and one was 80%, because I am going to use my standard size traveler's notebook and so journal, and so I wanted to make sure that they were going to be able to fit in here, and I just plan on gluing them down. And what I noticed is I'm at the very end of my journal, so it's kind of neat that it all worked itself out. I think I have, yeah, there's exactly, to me I do a daily on a spread here, so I have like 3 days left. So with this form of documentation, I'm basically going to be writing in the different times, and I'm also going to be taking photos. So I want to come on here real quick and show you my process. And I think this particular size is going to work, and I'm going to say this is the 75% because it's a little bit smaller than this other set that I did. So now what I've done in the past, especially if it's like on a weekend, I will set my phone to every hour, and then I'll either I've done like where I've taken a picture on that hour, or I know that sometimes even if you take a picture, if you're not going to necessarily use it in your documentation, but you can at least, if you don't have your journal handy, you can quickly just take a photo and then document what you're doing and then write it in later. But I was using the hour because I would take a picture, but the last time I did this, it was like a work day, and so literally, you're working, you're not really necessarily having fun, and you're sitting at your desk. So in my case, I sit at my desk, so it wasn't as if I could really document, oh, hey, I'm checking emails, or hey, I'm doing paperwork, so that kind of stuff gets pretty mundane with me. And so I basically just I'm going to use this back page of this other one just so I can get the edges of this. So I don't necessarily do on the hour. Now I might go in there, especially like, say for instance, like before work. Usually it's in the morning, and I always call it crunch time because it's always crazy because I'm always running around. But in the evenings I can start setting my times for, like when I get home, and maybe even set it for every 30 minutes or an hour, to when the time frame really is, when I really am doing something that's, that I can document, or, want to document. So that's kind of how I handle, or how I do my documentation. And I think this is I think it's actually a pretty clever idea as far as being able to look back and see what you've done. And one of the things that I noticed is, especially like, not that I necessarily wanted to change anything, but one I think it was a Saturday, and that's when I realized I was giving some stuff in my life way too much attention. Like it was based all on it was something that I wasn't like totally in love with doing, but I felt like I was doing it, and then after I documented, I was like, gosh, I spend a lot of time doing that, and it's not even something that I'm like totally enjoying. So to me, that was kind of a pretty cool realization of, I don't want to do this anymore. So that's you know, it has its benefits. And then sometimes it's just, hey, this is my life, this is what we do, this is something probably like my kiddos can look back on, or, you know, and say, boy, Mom, what a interesting life we had. We went to the grocery store. Sorry, I got a kick out of that because my mom journaled, and she journaled for, I mean, she still does, but she more or less types it out now. She doesn't write anymore because it's really hard on, she's got like her wrists and stuff that gives her issues and everything, but she used to journal along when we were kids, and she said, boy, we sure did go to the grocery store a lot, because that was like her thing, you know, went to work, came home, or went to the grocery store, cooked supper, you know. So anyway, I'm sorry, I just really got a kick out of that because it's so true. Just the everyday life, you know, what we do. But so basically, I'm going to this particular page is, it says observations, gratitude, overheard, and your favorite moment. And these are really where I come in and do a lot of my decorating, and I also will come in and do pictures a lot of times. So I'm just going to cut these out as individual squares and glue these in here. And really, you know, I'm going to probably come back in here, and I may go ahead and just do one of the pages to show you, since I'm totally into adding watercolor to my journaling. I'm going to show you real quick how I plan on doing that as well. The top part of this is actually, I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. I'm just going to trim it off here for a minute and think about it while I'm doing these. But this says your breakfast, lunch, dinner, and other. And so a lot of times I try to include a photograph of what of the food anyway, so some of the times I don't necessarily write that in, so I may or may not cut that out. I don't know yet. I was just going to kind of think about that and see how these fit in. I'm doing actually a gratitude journal, or my gratitude ring, and I'll kind of show you here in just a moment what I'm planning on doing. I kind of started it last month with one of the kits that I had, and so I really wanted to kind of take it into, I may just kind of do like that. I don't know if I'm going to add that in there, but, and I'll show you real quick what I'm going to do. So that may be, you know, maybe I don't want to necessarily add something particular into this journal since I'm doing that little gratitude. I kind of want to do like a little creative journaling tag a day, and I'll show you that here in just a moment. I just wanted to kind of put these in here real quick and show you that. Whoops, I got wrinkly. And then I will show you what I'm doing this month, or this this month. So now when I take my pictures, because you can say that, you know, you're not going to be, you could fit a 4x4, because I do fit, let's see, here's a 4x4 picture that I fit in here, but basically I'm going to do, I use the app, the Beautiful Mess app, and then I basically go in and use the Foursquare, and I'll put in I usually take almost all my pictures in square form, and then what I'll do is I will go in and add my pictures to it, and then print those out, and so they become little bitty square. Let me see if I know I have some, because, oh, right here. Here's an example. So this is how the picture turns out. So I can cut each of those individual pictures out, and they'll fit perfectly in here. So that's kind of my idea behind, and I think there's other apps out there, like photo apps, that allow you to do you know, the different, like when you're doing collages and things like that. So you can probably use them, and then I basically just save it in my photos, and then I print it out at Walgreens. So that's kind of my my thought behind that. So before I go in and add any watercolor here, see that I'm just going to start out with really simple pages, and then this also gives me more opportunity back here to add, you know, maybe I'll do like a collage of photos. I'm really going to try to take several pictures tomorrow, even though it is a work day and not much. I mean, you never know. Who knows what's going to happen? You never know what tomorrow will bring. So, so we'll just see. And then I kind of, since I have this little junk journal, I had this as the next kind of page in here, and I thought that would be a great way for me to kind of put in here a day in a life. And then, of course, I found this little journal card with a little owl on it, and it's so cute. So I think I'm going to trim the sides down and see how I can fit those on there and still be able to use it, but have enough room to write in the day in a life. A day in a life. Gotta get that right. And I almost stamped off screen here because I know when I'm talking and I'm filming, the last couple times I basically just kind of just stamped and didn't like put all my letters in there, which later on it was funny because I posted this in the evening, and then that night my friend from Australia said, "Oh no, you forgot this." I said, "This particular, I think I forgot an E or something like that." And I was like, "Oh my goodness!" So it was a quick fix, no big deal, but it was really funny because, you know, when you're talking and you're filming and you're trying to spell, even if it's simple wording, I guess it is challenging. So I'm going to just do that like that. And then okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. You probably didn't even know I was gone, but you know, I'm filming. I put my little sticky note on the door, don't interrupt, and always have a little interruption. But so I'm just going to use these stamps to come in here and put in a day in a life. And hopefully I won't mess it up on film. So, and you know, I think I've mentioned before, I used to be so particular about stamping. If I messed it up, I really kind of geared away from stamping because I was such a perfectionist that, you know, if it didn't stamp all the way, I wouldn't want to use it. But I've gotten way over that because I think it kind of adds a little something. You know, like see the little marking on there, I would have been like, oh no, I've got to start over. But a day in, and now it didn't bother me. And I'm not saying that everybody may bother others, but I like the fact that I've kind of gotten over that because I can actually enjoy stamping a lot more. A day in a life. And I have to be kind of careful with this ink. It's takes sometimes a while to dry. And it'll smear. There we go. Day in a life. Perfect. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is put the date. So it is November. I'm just going to stamp it up here. Wow, that's a great. That's one thing I do like about it. It's that VersaFine ink. It really does a precise inking. I mean, it's actually pretty good. It's pretty good ink. It's just that I have to let it dry a lot of times. November 2nd, and then it's 2017. Oops, didn't have to put that away. And then I think what I'm going to do next is add watercolor on the second page, and then I'll have to let it dry and I'll document it, and that'll be it. We'll be ready to go. And again, I can add something on the back side here, but I'm ready to get moving on the project. So I think what I'm going to do is add some watercolor over here. I'm just going to clip that. You know what? I'm going to have to go get my watercolors. They're in the kitchen because, you know, I try to add in a little bit of watercolor when I can. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I think what I'm going to do is come in here and just create a, I'm just going to kind of go around the perimeter of each of this, just like so, and just create like just a perimeter of color, because I love doing that. And then once I have this added, I will I'll have it dry, and then we'll document it. And basically I'm adding a lot of color here, and I'm just putting my brush to the side and adding, just kind of smudging little paint around it like that. And it'll dry, and then it'll be ready to document tomorrow. And if you follow me on Instagram, this is kind of exactly how I do my weekly planner. I just basically kind of add color throughout the through the pages just by doing this little smudging. Kind of hold my brush to the side, and the paper is going to feel extremely wet, but it dries very well. Let me see here. I don't know. I don't know why, but I've been doing purple lately. Not a big fan of purple. I don't know why. But I know with this particular watercolor set, I don't have pink. So I think if I had pink, I would be doing a lot more. So I'm just going to kind of just leave it like that. And again, this is just kind of a leading off to a background. And then I'm going to come in here, you know, and add my pictures and my wording, my documentation. And I'll probably come back on here and do like a, just to show at the end how I finish it up. Yes, because you'll see the pages are very wet. So I'm just going to leave it like that, and I will come back to it tomorrow. Usually I let it dry overnight, or you know, if it's earlier in the day, but I'm doing this in the evening. So I'm just going to let this dry overnight, and then I will document. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video.